So we're going to say his last song, which was Exalted. It's just finished. We're going to start the service, which means we're going to make sure that all the lights are on, which they are, so you haven't touched them. And as they're wheeling out the I call it a podium.
Podium.
Yeah. See, I wanted to make sure I was using the right term. As they're wheeling out the podium to the center, you'll open up his iPad. And so if you remember when we got the file off and put it into ProPresenter, this is where you're going to find it. So you're going to come here and click on his file for Sunday.
It's right here.
Yeah, we'll do July 12th. Click on it again, it'll show up. Alright, so right here, there's the power button to his iPad. Go ahead and turn it on. So you just need to tap it and it'll turn on. So wait for that to load. When it loads, you'll have to enter in his password, and we'll talk about that in a second. Okay, so his password is, alright, so what we need to do to make this connect to this is we need to go to the ProPresenter app. So find an application on his iPad that looks like ProPresenter. Just say not now, and then not now again. Okay.
And this is what you do when the announcements are being made?
Yes, so when the announcements are going to be over here in Keynote, but I'm covering his, covering this,
Oh, here it
how to
is.
connect it. Yep, it's down there, you found it. Alright, so it's doing all that, connecting, it's automatically connecting to this. So this is the screen he gets a lot when he calls me down and says, I have the wrong screen. So, see all these buttons down here?
Uh-huh.
We're going to click on Remote, so touch Remote. So you touch Messages, touch Remote.
Sorry.
Alright, so now pick up the iPad and turn it on its side. Yeah, so that's the orientation he likes so he can read it. So because we don't see anything on the screen, it's not fully connected. So go ahead and take the mouse and double click on his first slide. And you'll watch this come up. Okay, so now his iPad is connected. You can take it to him down there. So all he's doing is he's advancing the slides like this. And so see, as you do that, it changes up here. It's delayed, but it changes up here. So once you get it connected and showing his first slide, he'll take over from there. So you take it down to him and he'll start the service.
Josh, when you go down and help them, what is normally the problem?
So right here,
What he just showed.
there are a couple buttons on the bottom.
Okay.
Usually when he's doesn't notice it, he'll touch one of these and it'll just go to a different screen.
Oh, okay.
So you see these are buttons on the bottom, these little touch buttons.
And it just-
Usually it goes to one of these different segments of the app, which they're great. We don't need them for our purposes.
I just hit Remote.
Yeah,
That's it.
the one called Remote, it's the second one on there.
Yeah.
Whoop,
So that's usually what you do.
it's the second one on there, we just hit Remote. Yep. That's usually what the problem is. If you have more problems past that, you need to call me because I need to explain it. Usually that's the problem. 98% of the time, that's the problem.
And then, now, is this on here for a particular reason? Is it because we're doing
Okay,
Keynote?
so yes, when you're doing Keynote,
It's one.
that,
Or
yeah,
whatever
Keynote,
that is.
I'll just label that with tape. I'll put Keynote.
But
Or I can put laptop or whatever. So whenever you're doing Keynote with the lyrics, that's how since this is the master, it overrides everything. I told it to go to 3, which is the screen for this in this setting.
So that's the hard button for.
It's the hard button for this. So everything has its own hard button on here. And this one, this device here, which is labeled laptop, has a hard button of 3. And so if you press iMac, you'll go to this. So go ahead and press iMac.
Don't I want to go to Program?
Yes, but I'm just
I
showing
just
you.
want you to try it.
Yeah, so see, now you put this screen, you told it to put this screen iMac on the projector. And so if you want to show Program, go ahead and show Program. You told it to show this screen, which is great if you're going to use the switching software. If you want to use the switching software for the recording and everything, which you'll need to at least a little bit to record him, then you'll need to come back over here and start using the switching software. So to get out of this, to get out of Keynote,
Yes.
this escape button right there in the top left corner, that escape button right there. So when I hit escape, watch the screen, it goes away and comes back to this mountainous view. It's basically the secondary screen. So you're now presented with the traditional red dot, yellow dot, green dot to close it out, minimize it, and maximize it. You'll just come up here to the top of the screen and there'll be a red dot. You can close it out entirely because you're not going to use it anymore. So use this mouse. If you could shake it like this and see how the mouse gets larger.
Okay.
That way if you lose it on the screen somewhere, you can just, hey, where am I? Oh, there I am. So you come up here, well, come up here, exit it out, and you want to go back to the switcher program. So as long as you have that up, you can now use your keys to put up 1 as the presenter program. So go ahead and press 1. Okay, so now you're on program.
And it'd be Pastor Russ, the camera would be the other one.
Well, I want all the nations in the preview, and I want the back camera in the...
Right, so go ahead and, yeah, so it's doing the hard cut right now. So, let's try this. Now hit 1. Okay, hit enter.
And then 2.
2.
Camera 2.
Yeah. Hit enter. Hit 3.
3.
Oh, go back, enter. Hit 3. Okay, for some reason right now, it's hard cutting and putting it in that. Honestly, I don't know why it's doing that. That's why I avoid turning some things off, not turning other things off. Because once you start messing and troubleshooting, you run into little glitches like when this bar comes over here or it hard cuts to this. And there's software ways I can fix that. It's not worth showing you because it doesn't matter. It just makes it cut to here instead of cut to there. When you restart the system, it'll cut back to there.
Well, actually, that is the camera you want, right?
Yeah, but usually it cuts it to the preview window. So if you have that problem, I would, so I would say I want 1 up there. Whoops. I want that, and I really want his video, a video of him on the screen, but whoa, I don't want it to jump so quickly like that. Then this is the iMac, I know that. I'm going to tell it to stay on the iMac on the screen. Then I'm going to jump to what I need. Takes a little bit of, messing around with it to get a feel for it.
So now I put this on program?
Yeah, so anytime you hit one of these buttons, it's going to be a hard cut. It's going to just jump directly to that screen. So if you want to do a soft transition, then wait for him to speak again where you need one of his slides up. And then you'll enter to show his slide, put it on program, tell it to go to that screen. It's still showing that screen. Then transition back to him. Otherwise you're doing this. Well, it's on that screen, but you should see here, that's what's on the screen. You're doing a hard cut instead of a fade. It's really the only difference.
Okay.
But this is the boss. This is the master. It'll override anything. You got 1, 2, which is cameras. It's a laptop. Yeah.
That's good to know though, because if something gets messed up, then I can just put it on that.
And if you see this, don't worry about that. That's just because you hit one of these buttons.
Okay.
And it'll go like yellow and orange and It'll do all these other things, but they're not programmed to do anything, so don't worry about it.
Okay.
As long as you're touching these buttons and not these
Right.
buttons. You're like, oh, side note. Yeah, so I use bars just to test the screen if it's on. If I'm troubleshooting, I'm like, oh, but you don't need to know that. You need iMac, program, and then I'll label this. Would you want it to be labeled laptop? You want it to be labeled Keynote? What do you want?
Keynote.
Keynote? Okay, I'll put Keynote right there. It won't look like that. I don't have that. But I'll put some sort of tape, Keynote.